Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Art of Wellbeing group. Today, we're going live for Ask Your Expert, which we'll be doing every single Thursday, answering any of your questions that you may have submitted to us privately or publicly. First of all, we're just going to wait a couple minutes to see who would like to join. But in the meantime, we wanted to say thank you so much to everybody who has joined our community here. And we're very excited to have you and very excited to continue growing and expanding alongside of you. And anybody who does have any questions that they'd like to submit during this broadcast or privately for a future one, please don't hesitate to ask. We're really excited to be able to be here to answer your questions and to continue building a safe space for community. So if you are here on the replay, make sure that you let us know, comment, replay, and let us know your feedback, because we would love to hear what it is. And even if you missed it and there's something that you'd like to know, those questions will be answered at a future date. So don't hesitate. And today we've got Ryan Snow, and he's going to be answering some questions for us around the default mode network. So welcome, Ryan.
Hello. How's it going, Jade?
Oh, you know, chilling.
Okay.
Bit of a lag going on. We got you?
Yeah, you betcha. Yeah.
Perfect. Hi, welcome. So tell us, what is the default mode network? What is this, and why talk about it?
So the default mode network is the network of, like, the system of our body, basically. It has the brain network is connected to the nervous system network, which is connected to your gut network, and it all works together so that we can experience the world in the way that we're in the way that we are. It's more of a sensory input type of network, and it impacts us on our daily life. As much as we want to believe we're 100% conscious of all of our actions, this network really has more say than we like to give it credit for a lot of the time.
So what you're saying also is that this is responsible for like pieces of our emotional regulation, and you were talking about the sensory experience. So outside stimulants being something that impacts the system as well?
Yeah, so if you ever noticed, if you get watching a lot of like horror movies and that starts to go into your dream space and you're like, you start to get overwhelmed with those ideas. It's the same as Facebook. Facebook, you know, will get into these algorithms and you'll go down rabbit holes of content that you're interested in. And it just, you know, it starts to evolve what kind of information you're starting to get and how you think, how you react to things, how triggers, what can be triggering to your nervous system, what you think is a threat, what you feel safe with. All of these things are correlated to this network.
Okay. So why would you say, in a nutshell, it's really important right now to understand this network and how that really plays into the day-to-day life right now for people?
Well, I think with our day-to-day life, we are living in a time where everybody is stressed all the time. Everybody here has Facebook, and if you get onto Facebook, you're going to see something about COVID. Whatever your stance is on COVID, nobody loves it. You know, it's impacted our lives so severely that it subconsciously is a threat to you. It doesn't matter if you think you're gonna live or you're gonna die. It's affected you, it's affected how you live, it's affected how you interact, it's affected how you have relationships. So it is a threat. And subconsciously, our bodies go into a response of stress as soon as you get triggered by the word COVID. Understanding that that trigger has an effect on your body, and that if you're not regulating out of that, that stress will build up over time and your regulation will go up and up and up until you're highly anxious or you get really depressed and you're just in this roller coaster of emotion.
That makes perfect sense. And I mean, so what you're saying is right now we're constantly having our survival mechanism just re-triggered over and over again, just with the state of the world and the way that it is. Never mind if you've experienced any sort of past traumas and other like things that may be triggering a survival state of mind, that right now it is really hard to stay regulated due to the state of the world and what is happening to constantly re-trigger this mode to say, I need to survive, I need to survive, I need to survive, and causing our nervous system to sit at this really high level where it doesn't have a chance to actually come down into a space of presence and regulation.
Yes. And the good thing is that it is a skill that can be taught, and it's a system that can be trained. I think a lot of people just don't have the education that they learn about this, like parasympathetic, sympathetic, fight, flight, freeze response, and just don't understand you can get into a regulated state. You can understand what your body feels like when it's regulated. You can understand what it feels like when it's triggered. The little tools that you can do take 30 seconds when you're feeling overwhelmed. You can actually bring yourself back into a state of play or joyfulness, a little bit of gratitude. It's really, really quick, and your body responds very, very well to it. It's just understanding what it feels like, feeling when you're triggered and overwhelmed, seeing what that looks like in your world, and then taking charge of those states, understanding your body, giving yourself a second, and just living with that. It's okay to have those things going on.
Absolutely. And for those of you who don't know what the fight, flight, freeze system is, it is the operating system from the back of the brain that causes us to go into this survival mode that Ryan is talking about right now. And our parasympathetic and sympathetic systems are what are activated when we are in that fight, flight, freeze system. It's our sympathetic nervous system that is fired up. When we get into that space of regulation and we can kind of come back down into the present moment, we have an opportunity to get into our parasympathetic nervous system where we can make more regulated, wise, and responsible decisions, which is accessing that front part of our brain known as the prefrontal cortex. So Ryan, what would you say are some tools and tips right now, given the state of the world, that will help people come into a space of regulation that they may be able to adopt on their day-to-day life?
I think the first thing isn't really a tool, but understanding that this system is a sensory system. So your touch, your sight, your smell, your taste, your hearing, everything is recording at all times. So when you're watching the news and you're getting all of the bad news is coming in, you're hearing that, you're seeing it, your body's responding to it. And so your diet isn't just what you eat, it's everything that's going into your body and everything you're consuming. So being mindful of what you consume, you know, surrounding yourself with some joyful practice and understanding that like you are more in control of your body than being pushed around by your emotions. You know, like sometimes, you know, we can control not eating a ton of sugar, but when we're in stress, like I go for a bag of M&Ms right away. And then understanding that those things are like trainable and fixable, and it's not terrible to want to soothe yourself with some sugar, but know that it's a stress response and it might be time to just give yourself a couple more minutes before bed to just do some gratitude and center. The number one tool that we have is breath. Our breath is the one thing that our body listens to. Our nervous system is tied directly to our breath. As soon as you feel stressed, your heart or your breath rate will go up, your heart rate will follow suit to the breath. So here's a little technique. It's very, very simple. And it's just a little bit of mindfulness where we breathe out for longer than we're breathing in. And if we can do that, our body knows that it's safe. It understands like everything's okay. We can control our breath. We're not so overwhelmed that it has to run away on us, okay? And so a simple technique we can do just really quick if everybody wants to sit with us is just breathing in through your nose. You breathe in through your nose for 4. And you breathe out through your mouth for 6. And if you just continue that pattern for 4 or 5 breaths, and you can think of something you're grateful for, and put that in your heart and radiate that out, and your body will start to learn that it's safe. You can even use a mantra, I am safe here. I am safe. And these things will just start to rebuild and retrain how your body sits in reactivity. it'll start to make a little bit of space so you can hit with something, and your body will actually take a second, like, am I actually against survival here, or is that an old way of being? And it like puts a little pause there and gives your brain a chance to be like, okay, yes, I can, I'm not actually, that was a trigger, I can get through this.
Absolutely. And I know that we've I've heard practice the pause, and a lot of people go, how do I pause? It is a trainable mechanism. And this is how we start to train that, is through our breath. I remember
Yeah.
reading that after 5 regulatory breaths that you have an 80% chance of actually changing the story and the narrative and coming back into presence instead of being stuck in the anxiety space. You actually have an opportunity to interrupt the pattern, and all it takes is 5 breaths.
Yeah, and knowing that, like, in stress response, we're not making real conscious choice. Every horror film has somebody running upstairs, and everybody's like, "Why in the hell would you run upstairs?" But like, they're stressed, they're in trauma, they just want to get away, and outside is dangerous, and upstairs probably has a bedroom with a teddy bear that they remember, and they run that. It's not like we're like, "Oh shoot, I can't go upstairs, can we get murdered?" It's just instantaneous. Where can I go to be safe? There's a bedroom while you were a childhood or whatever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's, it's just understanding that we are, a part of our past. Our traumas impact us, and they're running constantly as judgment in order for us to survive. And we can change that narrative from survive to thrive just by using our breath, being conscious about what we do, understanding that there are threats, and like, what is the threat level? Can we manage it with our own behavior? Sitting comfortable, finding a balanced place, training our balance spots, and moving forward from there.
I love that. I really love that. So aside from our breath, Ryan, what would you say are some other tips and things that people could do to maybe watch how their nervous system is being impacted, especially now when we're being constantly bombarded with a lot of unknown factors?
I think one of the things you can do is go through your YouTube and see what comes up on your feed. If it's positive stuff, maybe it's okay to be there. But if it's a bunch of conspiracy theories and things that like get you worked up, maybe it's time to put that down for a little bit. Same thing with Facebook. Same thing with the news. Get outside, put your hands on the earth. Nature and the earth wants to give us support. It's a great place. Like, your body loves it out there. You can hear some birds, you can put some good stuff into your sensory pieces. Everybody loves to look outside. The aurora borealis has been crazy lately. Go outside and see it. Get into touch with the things that are bigger than ourselves and the problems that we exist in. Try and put yourself into situations where there's joy and some happiness. Gratitude is a practice that's very simple too, where you just name 3 things that you're grateful for. And then that simple thing, you don't even have to put much thought into it, but that simple thing rewires your brain to look for positive instead of negative. Our bodies are naturally negatively biased. They want to understand threat, and you can change that, but it just takes really little conscious things.
I wanted to just segue here with a comment that we have from Ashley. And oh, did it just disappear? I don't know where it just went. She was just saying something about what she was doing with her own body, but now the comment is gone. So Ashley, if that comment was still there, just let us know. We would love to address it. Anyway, and thank you so much also for being here. I really, really feel appreciative of all of you who are tuning in today. I finally figured out how to look at questions while we're on live, so this is a brand new process for me. Well, I think that's probably, do you have any other things that you would like to address before we jump off here?
Yeah, in this world full of division right now, if you're feeling triggered and angry with somebody saying something and you're so just in disagreement, try and find what it is in yourself to bring some breath and love to. Understand everybody has something unique to say. We can't get along with everybody, and just try to be in a more loving space in your heart. Try to make your decisions from there, and we can actually start to move forward in a life that we all love to be in.
Hmm. I love that. I really love that. Thank you for that. And I did find Ashley's comment. It says, I've been intentionally taking off pressure within and throughout my life so I can be in presence to regulate. I really love that comment, especially considering that we really do have to take a look at where energy leaks are. Where is this all coming in? Where are we maybe overstimulating ourselves? Where are we overdoing it in our sensory processing? And how maybe we be able to be more accountable for what is a little more controllable in our lives and the known factors that we know are actually stimulating us on a constant day-to-day basis when we already have so much going on in the world. How can we maybe shift that pressure, getting outside, activating our breath, knowing that we need to take a couple more minutes to come down? Maybe there has been a little bit more going on that day. It's okay to need to take that extra time to rest, to take that extra time to nourish our body. And one of the things that I really love coming back into is just closing my eyes for a second and actually asking myself in times of overwhelm, what do you need right now? What is it that you need right now? And sometimes the answers are quite surprising. They're not what I expected, but they always, always come down to, it's never add more pressure and be more productive and go back on the internet. It is never that. It's always something like go play with your kids. Just dial out for a second, go play with your kids.
Yeah, and one
You
other
know?
thing, when people are feeling really overwhelmed, and this might seem really hard to create some sort of practice, give yourself a few minutes. It's just one small thing in the day. Even if it's 30 seconds of breath, that's going to change your life. You can do that, once, and then, twice, and it'll be 5 times. That'll turn into a minute. It'll turn into a yoga practice. It'll turn into, just a beautiful life. But just start with something really small. It doesn't, that overwhelm is real. Ego doesn't want us to change. Start with one thing. Give yourself just a little bit of a pause, one little tiny thing where you can give yourself some love. It will change your life.
Will, absolutely. And, creates that new mechanism, that new habit, right? When we get to interrupt that old space, we breathe room into actually creating these new places for regulation. And it's so important, as you mentioned, now more than ever, when our survival and so many unknown and uncontrollable factors are constantly being put inside of our face, whether it be from the state of the outside world, from Facebook, from the media, all of these other different outlets. So being able to come back into stillness and be accountable for how we can feel safe inside of our bodies is such an important piece in order for overall peace within. And, if you're a parent, then also for anyone around you, including your
That's
children.
right. Well, thank you very much, Julie. This has been great. Thank you, everybody that came to see us or catches it later.
Let us know how it is that you like everything. Oh,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, feel free to ask. We can speak about a broad spectrum of things, including plant medicine or psychedelic integration, and just wellness practices in general. So I look forward to your questions.
Absolutely. Well, thanks so much, Ryan. And thank you for all of you who are here joining us in the Art of Wellbeing group. And we hope you have a magical, beautiful day and rest of your weekend. Bye.